Hey, all you miraculous holders out there, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and you need to buckle up because it's Season three's episode titled Miraculer, where we actually have a very major episode here, and it is going to take me a good while to get through this one because so much happens. Now, we start off with Paris under a vicious attack by a new unseen Akuma called Destroyer or Destructor or something like that. Naturally, Chloe, tries to use her Queen Bee signal to summon Ladybug as she feels that she's needed for this battle. However, the news report also is blaring off that utter destruction is just happening to Paris as we see the Eiffel Tower get snapped right in half. But Ladybug is nowhere in sight as she's too busy fighting off Destroyer with Cat Noir, Carapace, and Rena Rouge. And Hawkmoth is actually kind of sensing some of this, as he has had Mayuri actually go and just observe Chloe. He is actually lying in wait to see if Ladybug will get in contact with Chloe, which is genius because that's the thing. If you have the ability, if you know who the secret identity of your hated enemy is, then just wait it out. Wait for them to come in, deliver the miraculous to Chloe, and there you are. Your plans are in full motion. And that's what he's doing. He's just waiting it out and tells Mara, just wait it out, see if Ladybug comes and gives the miraculous to Chloe. However, things actually end up being resolved and Destroyer is taken down off screen. But, Chloe kind of brushes this off, saying that Ladybug will come to her when there's a really dire situation. And as Nino and Alia hand over their miraculous, Ladybug thanks her for their job and she goes off. However, but when she meets up with Cat Noir, he mentions the fact that, so you didn't take it to Chloe this time around. And Ladybug admits that now that people know fully well who she is, it's far too dangerous to keep giving it to her because at some point she might be targeted, which is exactly Hawkmoth's plan here and now. And Cat Noir mentions that, well, at some point you really do have to tell her that she might never be Queen Bee ever again. And Ladybug kind of just brushes it off. She doesn't really want to deliver that bad news to Chloe. Meanwhile, Natalie mentions to Gabriel that, well, it doesn't seem like things went according to our plan right now, but eventually it might just come to pass if we wait long enough. Gabriel, not wanting to wait, decides to activate their asset in the field, namely Lila. And, Natalie suggests this, just using Lila finally to kind of get the wheels in motion. I also love this scene of Natalie. She just really looks really cool here. Honestly, that's all throughout this episode too. Just really cool scenes that I have saved just because they're just aesthetically pleasing. Especially this one, when Gabriel goes to meet up with Lila in the park, with him in his car and her just on a nearby bench. And she rattles off all the people she feels that Adrian shouldn't be associating with. Basically trying to get Adrian isolated from everyone but her, because she rattles off Nino, Marinette, and especially Chloe. But Gabriel mentions that Chloe is Adrian's longtime friend, her childhood friend. The bond that they have could never be broken by any outside force, which naturally gets Lila's wicked little wheels turning in her head. And Gabriel just gloats about the moment. It's just like, that'll take care of itself. Like, I just love this shit-eating grin. And Natalie just smiling from the front seat. It just creates this entirely interesting and different dynamic to see these two working together. What really caught me off guard, though, is the fact that Natalie no longer seems to suffer from the defect of the Peacock Miraculous. She seems fine now when she transforms into and transforms back from Myra. And I'm just wondering, like, what changed? What happened? Did she just grow accustomed to it? I figured that was the reason why Gabriel's wife ended up in that kind of coma situation, but I guess not, because Natalie seems to be fine now. And when Chloe talks things over with her quote unquote friends, she's basically demeaning and putting down Rena Rouge and Carapace, despite the fact she's talking right to all of the miraculous holders right there and then. But then, when everybody else goes to study, in comes Lila to kind of mention that, oh, I'm also a close friend of Ladybug. I have this special call that she will immediately come running when she hears it, and she shares it with a skeptical Chloe. And she mentions that, hey, well, if she's truly your friend, she'd come with this call no matter what. Also, I gotta mention, man, Lila is taller than I thought she was. Like, really? Or maybe Chloe is shorter than I thought she was, because this scene, that height difference is something. Marinette, overhearing this, actually decides to go and talk to Chloe because it's obvious that Lila has put something in Chloe's head. And when Marinette goes over to mention, just like, well, knowing Ladybug, she will really come to you when the time actually comes. But Chloe takes this as Marinette trying to demean and degrade her for the most part, to make fun of her. And Tiki mentions when Chloe leaves that, hey, maybe it shouldn't be you to talk to Chloe. It needs to be Ladybug. Much to Marinette's kind of displeasure. She's not ready for this conversation. But Hawkmoth notices the growing tension within Chloe and sends Mayuri to keep an eye on her, because he knows their plans are in motion, the wheels are in motion to get Chloe on their side. So Marinette transforms into Ladybug. Meanwhile, Mayuri actually scopes out the nearby August, the little baby who threw that tantrum that one time, who's very hungry for lollipops, which he's not supposed to have. And we actually see Mayuri use her abilities to send out what is called an amux. Which I didn't know that was the name of them, which create these creatures called, senti monsters. That's what it was called when she used it on Hawkmoth in order to create manifest his desire into a creature. So it ends up possessing August Binky and creates this massive lolly senti monster. I love those titles too, senti monsters. You're not attack, it goes off of people's desires, much like an Akuma, but it creates just this outward personification of that desire. And while Ladybug was getting ready to go and have that discussion with Chloe, she ends up being distracted by the senti monster, putting it off. Chloe also sees this and sees it as an opportunity to finally get Ladybug to come and meet up with her, because she's just grown too restless about wanting Ladybug to come and, ask for her assistance. But Adrien and his bodyguard also see this, so Adrien's bodyguard puts him in his room in order to keep him safe, and Adrien uses this opportunity to transform into Cat Noir. So they join up and get ready to go after the senti monster and really just, take the thing down, But Ladybug actually notices that, hey, usually there's an Akuma that akumatized being, a akumatized monster who shows up as well, but there's none of that here this time, which takes her off guard for the most part. But Chloe also views this and notices that Ladybug just doesn't seem to want to show up. And after Sabrina goes to try to cheer up Chloe with their costumes, their Ladybug and Cat Noir costume, Chloe remembers Lila's words about the, call for Ladybug, and she does this little stupid dance and, says Ladybug, Ladybug, and, Chloe feels embarrassed after it doesn't seem to work. Meanwhile, Ladybug is actually doing solid work and, takes down the sentient monster with the help of Cat Noir, and we see that she also is able to, she breaks the binky, it brings out the amok, and she manages to de-evilize the feather. So she's able to do it in the same way as an Akuma, for turning it back into a butterfly. So it's that same kind of, I guess what Natalie and Gabriel do is they imbue those purified things with a malicious intent. So it makes me wonder, does that mean that Ladybug could possibly use malicious will on her lucky charm and bring out something deadly as well? And if that were to happen, like, how would you purify that? We haven't seen anyone else aside from Ladybug with the power of purification. Raises a lot of questions if something were to really go wrong. But Chloe notices that, the miraculous ladybugs go off and do their thing of fixing everything, and she's actually becomes really devastated and realizes that Lila kind of tricked her, and Ladybug doesn't really seem to value coming and seeing Chloe when she feels that she might need it. And so she's heartbroken, and she gazes at this picture of her and Ladybug that she seems to be hanging on to. And she's just really devastated by this, which leaves her prone to Hawkmoth, who uses this as an opportunity to try and possess her. And meanwhile, while Sabrina comes back and suggests them playing, Chloe just blows up in Sabrina's face about, oh, I don't want to play at being Ladybug. I'm already my own superhero, and why would I even want to play with you? And once again, just poor Sabrina, like she doesn't deserve stuff like this. It always baffles me how these two are still friends after everything, but there's also a moment in this where you actually see why. As but that's after the Akuma comes in and possesses the picture of Chloe and Ladybug. And Hawkmoth tries to, command Chloe and say, hey, well, with my power, you might be able to forcibly take the power of Queen Bee from Ladybug. But for the first time ever, we see someone resist the powers of Hawkmoth, as Chloe is determined not to be a villain, not to actually be evil, which, I gained a new kind of respect for Chloe in terms of just how the fact that up until now we've never seen someone actually fully manage to resist Hawkmoth, and she throws down the picture and the Akuma just leaves. Was literally baffled by this moment, but then you remember that Sabrina has also been hurt by Chloe, and Hawkmoth knows this, and he uses this as a chance. As Sabrina's taking the elevator down, just feeling very melancholic, and I feel really bad for Sabrina because she keeps holding so close to someone who just seems to always take her for granted, no matter how many times the lesson is learned that Sabrina really cares for her. But then we see this nice little moment of a flashback where they're playing together, chasing around Jean, what was it? Butler John or whatever his name is. I think it's just Jean. I don't know if we know his last name. They chase after him and they have tickle fights because Sabrina is really ticklish, and all these little sweet little moments where it's just like, oh, that's why they're close. Behind closed doors, Chloe actually treats Sabrina like a good friend. They actually have some downtime. They actually play and are very close. And honestly, I kind of look at their relationship in a new light because of this, almost to the point where it's just like, maybe I almost kind of ship it to a certain degree because it's very cute and it's very sweet and it's very nice just to see Chloe just being a good friend for the most part. And Sabrina, makes you realize why Sabrina holds so fast to her friendship with Chloe, because when it's good, it seems to be really great. But in comes the Akuma to possess the fake Cat Noir staff that Sabrina has, and Sabrina is dubbed Miraculer. And Hawkmoth says that with her newfound power, she might be able to steal the powers of Ladybug and Cat Noir and give it to her precious Chloe, so Chloe can become a true superhero. And before Cat Noir and Ladybug can celebrate their victory over the Senti monster, in comes Miraculer, vowing to that they shall never harm Chloe again with their neglect. Which, Cat Noir calls out Ladybug on not actually going and seeing Chloe and talking things over. And Ladybug feels a little bad about, but she's about to time out. And she has to leave. But Miraculer actually starts to ridicule Ladybug and mimic her, and just, a very childish tactic, which Ladybug, in a really weird moment, actually gets all bent out of shape about her mocking her and goes in for the attack. At least, I guess she's a little stressed as she wants to, finish off the fight fast before she times out. But we actually see Miraculer steal Ladybug's power as her sigils form on Miraculer's body, and Miraculer brings out the lucky charm. In that weird sword thing we always see evil Ladybug clones pull out for some reason. Why that is the go-to, I really don't know. But, Miraculer manages to bring this out, stealing Ladybug's ability. And Cat Noir tells Ladybug to retreat, as she's still going to time out, and she can't really do much without her lucky charm. So Cat Noir goes in with his Cataclysm, but Miraculer actually steals this as well. Just taking his power away, and she uses it right on Cat Noir, which really does a number on him. And while Miraculer is all too happy to be able to give this power to Chloe, which Hawkmoth says, yeah, go ahead, give it to Chloe. So this is all part of his plan. And Adrian is effed up. And so is Plague, as they never really taken that kind of power to them. And while it was shown that usually that, I think it was suggested that before, if someone was hit with that power, it would destroy them, it more or way eats at them over time as Adrian becomes more and more weak as the episode goes along. Meanwhile, Marinette goes to see Master Fu and needs more help in order to defeat Miraculer, and she feels that she will need all of the miraculous holders in order to defeat this adversary. And when Master Fu says, even Chloe, Marinette says yes, even Chloe, as she knows Sabrina all too well, and she'll know the perfect way in order to take her down. And when she gives the Be Miraculous to Cat Noir, we actually see that he's still incredibly weak from taking that Cataclysm to the ribs. He is apparently dying, honestly. And we see that Myra is still scoping out Chloe, as now there's a new akumatized monster on the loose who shows up. Miraculer shows up and offers the powers up to Chloe, which Chloe kind of goes off on Sabrina, saying, well, I didn't want Ladybug's power, I want my own. I'm already my own superhero. And, Cat Noir shows up right on cue in order to offer up the Brie Miraculous. However, Mayuri comes in and swipes it right out of the weakened Cat Noir's palm and offers it up to Chloe, saying that if she were to join both her and Hawkmoth, she would have this power full time all the time. And Cat Noir gets ready to fight them off. Meanwhile, we see that Alia and Nino actually have been practicing parkour in order to keep up their agilities for whenever Ladybug shows up, in order to ask for their help. And there she is, ready to offer up their miraculous. And as Chloe hides from the ongoing battle, we see that Miraculer is actually able to combine the Lucky Charms with the Cataclysm, creating these devastating attacks that continue to just rock the weakened Cat Noir. But Ladybug, Rena Rouge, and Carapace show up on the scene to offer up a plan to Chloe. And as Miraculer gets ready to finish off Cat Noir, Chloe comes in saying that she will gladly take the power of her miraculous, oh no, Ladybug's power, her power in order because she feels fed up with the fact that Ladybug hasn't come in to give her miraculous, which Hawkmoth is just like, yes, yes, everything is going according to plan. And as Mayuri continues to fight Cat Noir and try to get his miraculous, Miraculer hands over Ladybug's abilities, only for it to be revealed that the Chloe in front of Miraculer was Ladybug in disguise by Rena Rouge's Mirage. And in order to prevent Miraculer from retaking Ladybug's ability, Carapace shields her. But however, once Cat Noir starts to get beaten down by Myra, Ladybug steps in and knocks her back. And how unfortunately that leaves a Carapace and Rena Rouge open to having their power taken, as Myra manages to take Carapace's shielding power away from him. The shelter power. There we go. I always forget that name because it's such a weird name for an ability, but they're unable to actually do any damage to Miraculer. And this leaves Rena Rouge also prone to having her power taken as well. And with all the calamity just going on around her, Ladybug isn't sure what to do. For the first time ever, honestly, she's really stuck as Mayuri starts to recover and still has the Bee Miraculous. Carapace and Rena Rouge are really on the ropes with Miraculer, and Cat Noir is just straight up dying, honestly. And, Hawkmoth notices this and is just like, hey, Mayuri, come on back. We've already got the Bee Miraculous. That's one for our side. And as Mayuri goes to retreat, Cat Noir uses the last of his strength to knock the Bee Miraculous out of Mayuri's hands. And Ladybug manages to get it with her yo-yo and sends it over to Chloe, who transforms and goes after Mayuri as she tries to escape. But Mayuri was all too willing to wait for Queen Bee. And, as she manages to subdue Queen Bee, she actually starts to whisper into Queen Bee's ears that, hey, wouldn't you like to have your power all the time? Why have Ladybug dictate when you get the ability to help others? If you join our side, you'd have that power 24/7, whenever you want, and be able to use it however you want. However, Queen Bee doesn't want to let down Ladybug and doesn't want to squander this chance that she's been given. And she actually manages to get a hold in on Mayuri and even threatens to take Mayuri's Peacock Miraculous. But Mayuri manages to break free and escape, much to Queen Bee's disappointment, as she really wanted to prove herself to Ladybug. Meanwhile, Miraculer starts to use Rena Rouge's illusionary powers, but they manage to find the real one and get a hold in on her. But they're unable to take her Akuma away because of Carapace's shelter she uses. And when Ladybug uses her lucky charm, it's revealed to be a pillow, which she's not quite sure how to use it, honestly. And it's only when Miraculer managed to fight off most of everyone and knock away the weakened Cat Noir, in comes Queen Bee, revealing that Sabrina is ticklish. And so Ladybug breaks open the pillow and uses the feathers on Miraculer, who is so ticklish she uses the shelter to protect her underarms from being tickled, and Ladybug uses this as an opportunity to break apart the staff and free the Akuma and turn it back into a butterfly, which and the miraculous ladybugs revive Cat Noir and revert Sabrina back to normal. And while Queen Bee is actually sorry for allowing Mayuri to get away, she notes that if Ladybug had just come to her and given her a miraculous earlier, they might have been able to avoid most of this. But Ladybug owns up to the fact that, hey, I kind of was thinking that maybe you might not be Queen Bee anymore because people know who you are. And it was this situation that kind of proved my fears that having your identity known would just lead you into more trouble than it's worth. And while Queen Bee is mad at first, she owns up to the fact that, you know what, you're right, fine, but you will need my powers and ability and my help somewhere down the line, and I will be waiting for that moment, which is a very mature moment for Chloe for the most part. And as all of the heroes leave as they're about to time out, Sabrina apologizes and even suggests that maybe Chloe doesn't want to play with her anymore. And while looking at the picture of her and Ladybug, Chloe notes that, no, I will always want to play with you, but she then rips up the picture of her and Ladybug, suggesting that she really took things harder than she let on. And while Mayuri apologizes to Hawkmoth for not getting the Miraculous, Hawkmoth admits that that's perfectly fine, as his plan seems to have gone forward in motion. He has set something on the back burner, and Queen Bee might very well end up allying herself with them in the future. And as Chloe, reams into Lila about the fact that she just had this, silly dance pushed upon her as a lie, Lila says, well, you spent the day with Ladybug, so maybe it actually worked better than you thought. Just Lila's just crafty wording just once again just manages to work her through. And, Marinette actually feels a little bit bad and wonders if maybe that was the right thing. Maybe Chloe's a little bit more broken up than she's letting on, but Tiki kind of plays it off, saying that, well, she understood the dangers of that, so she didn't stick with it. She, understood and she left it up to you to decide. But we're left with that uneasiness in the air, that maybe things aren't as cut and dry as they're made to seem, that Chloe might have taken things a little bit harder than she let on, and the diabolical thoughts and ideas, the machinations of Hawkmoth, might really end up playing a big role in the season finale. This was an intense episode. There was so much going on here. There was so many characters. We had every Miraculous holder, just like the season 2 finale, but we're mid-season at this point. But there was so much, and the fact that Chloe might never be Queen Bee again, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, the villains know who you are. They obviously weren't idiots. They knew to just wait it out and observe you. So it really just, really cements the dangers of letting villains know who you are. But honestly, I'm impressed that Mayuri is now really being an active part of Hawkmoth's machinations. I like that. I really do like the fact that Mayuri is now more involved, even though we don't get an explanation as to how Natalie is able to survive having the Peacock Miraculous used now. It's very interesting and kind of weird, but very interesting moments. Could have used a little bit more carapace and Rena Rouge, but this wasn't really their episode. It was more of a Chloe episode for the most part, which makes sense. But the fact that Chloe was able to resist the kumatization, that was intense. I honestly can't believe that she was able to just break free of it, which shows that Chloe has a greater will than people give her credit for, that I give her credit for at least. But, very interesting stuff, and I'm really interested to see where this plotline goes from here on out. It feels like this episode rewarded a lot of long time, instances and situations that I was kind of starting to question when we would finally see some of this stuff addressed, and it is addressed beautifully here. 10 out of 10 episode, especially for all that epic foreshadowing for the future. But hey, don't take my word for it. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. How did you feel about this episode? What do you think about Hawkmoth's plans? What do you think about Mayuri being a more involved part in Hawkmoth's machinations? How do you think Chloe's gonna take the fact that she is being passed over for being a superhero anymore because she let it out that she is Queen Bee? Those repercussions, those repercussions coming into play finally after all this time. And Cat Noir almost died in this episode. That was really kind of intense. But again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more Miraculous Ladybug episode reviews. And if you want to find me on social media, just Google Duuz-Diz-Din. I am everywhere for better or for worse. And until the next video, just remember that sometimes secret identities are secret for a reason. And you might end up regretting letting yours out. Until the next video, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I think it's time for a nap. Bye-bye.